especially what I noticed in B that works really well, because in A, they're still nervous, they're still not sure what's expected of them with academic writing. By the end of that semester, they feel like, okay, I'm an academic writer. Now in B, they can really start to fly with it and really start to dig deeper into critical thinking and critical reading and take some risks in their writing, which some of them did. They wrote about some pretty controversial topics, or they chose a hard concept to argue with.
Yeah, definitely. I love Project Web. And in Project Web, it's asking the students to make a blog. So what I did is I molded a problem solution paper into becoming an advocacy blog for that problem. And the students loved this. It's a medium they know and that they like. And I remember in one of his reflections, one of my students talked about how they not only got to write a paper, but then they got to share it with the world.
I do not require or assign them to read anything about this. They were born into this, what we call new media. It's been here since the day they were born. We talk about the abuses of media and how media can be used to distort the truth and reality. And they're very aware of that because of Facebook. No one's telling the truth. And so we do have that discussion about sort of the ethics of using media.
In my class, we read about we just currently read The Importance of Being Literate, which is an article I found in a student journal online. I also had them read the article, Is Google Making Us Stupid? By Nicholas Carr. The idea is we started talking about media literacy in our class, and why is it important? Why is the notion of literacy changing in this world, and why is technology sort of changing the way we think as a society?
I had them reading a little bit about, and we do this in the first semester as well, about visual rhetoric. So they're using a lot of what they learned about visual rhetoric to play with ethos, pathos, and logos visually in their blogs. And I think advocacy blogs really work towards that, because I hear the students say, oh, we really need a picture of a really sad puppy for our, animal abuse advocacy blog, or whatever it was that they were looking at.
What I found to be the most productive was actually switching over to strictly blogs and having students actually comment on the essay or the piece of writing immediately. So there was this sense of immediacy, and so you could go back and, even as an instructor, take a look and see what the other students were thinking, as opposed to having them simply fill out a sheet that you would eventually get back. So everything was happening in real time, as opposed to this kind of stagnated workflow that I think, doesn't necessarily need to be there any longer. I think that we can get to the point of letting students know exactly what's going on, and even as instructors ourselves, go in and give them immediate feedback. So they themselves are going, all right, this is what I'm doing right, this is what I'm doing wrong. And there isn't this waiting any longer. There's this just sense of, all right, let's do this, because that's the world they live in.